Well, thanks for stopping scrolling for what is today going to be a 5-minute Bible study. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your subscriptions and follows too. Last time while we were looking at the Lord's Prayer, we discussed a prayer model often used today by Christians, which is somewhat modeled after the Lord's Prayer. It's called an Acts prayer model, where the letter A is for adoration or praise of God for his goodness and creation, and whatever else you adore him for as well. The C, it's for confession, where you confess your sins to him. Yeah, he already knows them. Confess them anyway. The T stands for thanksgiving, where we thank God for all he has given us. I know, sometimes you're going to have some repeats from the adoration part of the prayer, for sure. That's okay. The last letter is S, and that stands for supplication. Of course, old church word here, but it just means to humbly plead, to ask God to heal your sick hand or fix the sin in your life. The Acts prayer is used by lots of churches, including the one I attend. I suspect when it's used by both the Hollow app, a Roman Catholic prayer app, and Ligonier Ministries, a pretty conservative Reformed Protestant organization, you could say it has pretty wide acceptance. I know of several other models, but I just want to share one with you that is pretty similar, but it's also fun. It's called tacos. The T is for thanksgiving, the A, adoration, the C, confession, and then they split supplication into the OS, which is others and self. Kind of makes me hungry to pray that way, though. The main thing, of course, is just to pray. Colossians 4:2 says this: devote yourself to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Now, there was this Old Testament guy who must have been famous for prayer. He must have been. Because in the middle of one of those huge lists we find in the Old Testament, we see this little paragraph almost hiding in 1 Chronicles 4, starting in verse 9. It says this: there was a man named Jabez who was more honorable than any of his brothers. His mother named him Jabez because his birth had been so painful. He was the one who prayed to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and expand my territory. Please be with me in all that I do and keep me from all trouble and pain." And God granted him his request. Now, as we said, Jabez's name actually means pain and sorrow, to grieve, which is why I think one of the things he asked God to keep him from all trouble and pain. He doesn't follow the Acts format well, but his prayer has resonated with people down through the years. Jabez lived in a time when his society was falling apart because of sin, and they were receiving God's punishment. Jabez asked God to reverse that and then give him a chance to expand his prayer-filled life to all of those around him. He isn't humbly begging for stuff. He wants to have influence. Now, to finish this section on both model prayers and prayers we see in the Bible, of which there's many, we should have a look at King David. He was a man of both sin and supplication, of killing and caring. David prayed this prayer, and you'll find it in Psalm 25. I think it's excellent for us today. Show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long, I put my hope in you. Like the Acts format or Jabez's prayer, this prayer is a good format for us to follow. David praises God as the one who saves him, tells him only he is to be hoped for, but he also humbly asks to be led and taught. Asking to be led. Now that takes us back to Jesus in John 16:13, where Jesus says this: when the Spirit of truth comes, he'll guide you into all truth. He'll not speak on his own, but he'll tell you what he has heard. He'll tell you about the future. A lot of prayer is being led. May that be true of all of us. God bless you. We'll talk to you later on Day of Devotion.